Hey, David T.S. Wood here, and welcome to my Extra Mile, the network marketing series. This is a six-part series. If you watched last week with the incredible Emily Vavra, you know what this is all about. If you're just joining us, look, if network marketing is not your bag, this show may not be for you, but come back because we talk about everything. We talk about money, we talk about relationships, mindset, we talk about success, freedom, all these different things. But this particular series, so many people have reached out to me and they're looking for a way to create a side hustle business so they can stay home and they can build a global business, because the one thing this pandemic has done is woken people up. So again, if you haven't watched week one, go back and watch it or listen to it. If this is you starting week two, welcome back. This week is all about finding people. It's about inviting people. It's an incredible skill set, finding and inviting, but it's also about the 6 critical areas of belief. Belief in the company that you choose to be with. Again, belief in the compensation plan. Belief in the products. All right, belief in the industry of network marketing. This is crazy because some of you out there right now, you have this bad taste in your mouth about network marketing. I've heard people say, "Oh, is that a pyramid?" If you're saying that, I guarantee you're broke. I guarantee you have no idea about this profession. It's the coolest profession on the planet. Belief in self. That's a moving target. But what I love about becoming a professional network marketer is it's a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. So we get paid to grow. And that's really what helped me grow an extraordinary life. And belief in self, becoming a professional network marketer. So you'll love the show. It's with the incredible, again, multiple six figure income earners, Jessica Regner and Dr. DelRae Messer. We are at week 2. Can you believe it? Week 2. I'm going to ask one of you. Let's go, Jessica. We'll go with you first. I'm going to ask you just use 90 seconds, all right? And not go over. Emily ran over about 2.5 minutes. I couldn't stop her. So you are going to stay under 90, but as close to 90 as you can. I'm going to ask you a question. And the question is, why network marketing? DelRae, you got a stopwatch there? And you're going to call time at 90 seconds. Ready? Jessica? Why network marketing?
Network marketing is the most brilliant profession, especially for people with big vision and big dreams who do not like limits. The opportunity to build a business from wherever you are, to have unlimited pay, the ability to give this to other people in a world where there aren't many jobs where you could actually get your best friends a job earning what you're earning, to have so much fun, to live a life that they truly deserve and desire. There's no other industry I've ever seen where you could truly bring along the people you love the very most and get them products that will change and transform their health into perpetuity.
Oh, all right, how did she do on time there, Bill, right?
49 seconds.
Could you drop the mic? All right, we're going to switch now. DelRae, it's your turn. Again, when I asked that question, again, I didn't prepare you for this. I didn't say, hey, listen, I want you to think about it, write down some notes. It's just, I want to ask that raw question, why network marketing, And as a medical professional, you know how medical professionals can be around this profession. I'm especially interested in you. So, DelRae, why network marketing? Ready? Go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's ironic that I'm going to be sharing with such conviction and certainty about this business model, since my belief in it was a 0 out of 10 when I first started. I had all the skepticism around the industry simply because of what I experienced before. And now being able to have experienced other business models is why I am so passionate about this one. With the little to no risk with startup cost is so huge. If you think about what it costs to actually start a business of any kind, and really being able to leverage the side hustle game as well with Isagenix is so powerful, because in a lot of other companies you have to choose between just being a customer or distributor. And I absolutely love that middle ground where, as a healthcare professional, I was never able to help my customers earn a little extra, and that creates so much financial breathing room for families. The complexity of nutrition and as well as the cost was the biggest challenge that I experienced with clients. So I love the little to no startup cost, eating your overhead. So powerful. Overheads in previous businesses were so much, from the amount of stress to the cost. I love that it's equal pay and equal opportunity, not only for women, but really anyone. And in a world that we live in today with so much injustice, I love that we have a profession that provides so much opportunity despite background, race, despite your education. I love that you can actually earn while you learn, and we actually have such a growth culture. Isagenix aligns with my core values, and I think if you are a person that is centered in your core values and you're trying to navigate different opportunities or different companies, everything rises and falls on the leadership and the core values of them. And so that alignment with not only my professional values, but also my personal and how I operate out of my life, integrity, contribution, service, team building, growth mindset, all of those were, that's why Isagenix was home to me and so many other people. I love working from anywhere, the flexibility to be able to work from home, designing my days around my priorities, what's meaningful to me, what's meaningful to my family, what and who do I want to be around and why, being able to actually design that day. And ironically, as a healthcare professional, I started to study statistics of mental health. And the fact that many of us struggle with anxiety and other mental health challenges, yet just because I believe we're also prideful in taking care of people, every day we don't have time to actually think about what work-life balance looks and how it looks for us. And this model allowed me to be able to do that and open up my laptop anywhere that there's Wi-Fi in a dream. And lastly, I always knew residual income was important to get out of something that was just trading my own time for money, but I didn't realize how important it would be till my family needed me the most. When I had lost grandparents and had a sick family member, I got to see the power of the work that I did previously paying me still today.
I love it. I mean, it's about 6.5 minutes, but
Sorry. How long was it? Did you time it? Was it over 90 seconds?
Yeah, you know, Jessica had a thumb up like 4 times. All right, you're there. It's like, okay, all right, well, 4 minutes is bad. All right, that's okay. It just means that Jessica won that particular competition there. But I couldn't stop it. It was so good. There's a little bit of funniness going on. I was trying to move the cameras so it won't go on to you, Jessica, to DelRae. It's staying on Jessica. So you guys watching at home, I'm doing the camera work right here. So we'll see how that works out. I typically switch the cameras, but here we go. Jessica, back to you. DelRae, you're on the watch right now. And DelRae, you're going to notice how short 90 seconds really is. All right, Jessica.
Good, David. My goodness gracious. I'm in for network marketing based on that.
Yeah. I was the same. I was thinking, you know what, I can't stop. If we just do this and then we end the show, it'll be like, okay, perfect. All right.
I just thought to myself, I'm going to do the recording and take all the notes. Thank you.
Exactly. All right. So Jessica, again, 90 seconds, best you can to stay within it. Why Isagenix? I mean, there's a lot of companies. I mean, there are some really good companies out there. I know why I've aligned with Isagenix. And I'm fascinated by that question. Why have you chosen Isagenix in 90 seconds? Now we can dig into it deeper afterwards, but 90 seconds, why Isagenix? Remembering there's brand new people listening right now that have no idea. They haven't drunk the Kool-Aid. You know, they're still trying to figure out whether this is a pathway for them. But you know, why Isagenix? Ready? And go.
In order to properly articulate the answer, I need to just tell you my background, because there aren't many things that you'd ask me to do. You won't ask me to parallel park your SUV or bake you anything, or really even write my handwriting that you could read it. But what I'll say is, one thing I know about is network marketing as an industry. I ran it for Citibank for 4 years, and before that for another company. And so I know a ton about the industry, and I would have never walked away from corporate America for any other company. And there's a lot of reasons. The products, bar none, they're transformative. They're unbelievably world-class, cutting-edge science, and we're staying ahead of that innovation. People in the nutrition world, like Dr. DelRae Messer, look at Isagenix and say, that's it. That's transformative. It has an emotional and a transformative ability to impact people. So when people walk around, they are the billboard for Isagenix. The compensation plan, that was my expertise. I can tell you, bar none, there is no compensation plan like it. We can show you how to make a significant income upfront with upfront dollars, but we can also show you how to create a life-changing residual with math, easy to understand. No compensation plan that you're looking at has unlimited depth, no generational cutoff, and the volume that never flushes besides being a binary binary in a company that's extraordinarily fast growing. So the comp plan is something significant. You also, if you were in my position running on the DSA, the Board of the Direct Selling Association, you got to look behind the curtains at companies. This is so important. Leadership of a company, the corporate executive staff, matters more than you will ever know, because that is the direction of the company. When you have Jim and Kathy Coover at the helm, it's integrity. I know, because I sat in meetings on the other side as a vendor for Isagenix, and when you hear them say, if it's not right for the associates, if it's not right for the field or the customers of Isagenix, it is not right for us. So I will tell you, that is fact. The integrity of a company, the direction. I've watched them choose integrity over dollars, when honestly, most business people I know would have chosen the dollars. When you're in Isagenix right now, there's never been a better time.
Awesome. I saw that phone come out. DelRae's like, ooh, I don't know. This is so good. I don't want to stop it. I
I know.
It's like Price is Right. Did I go over? I don't want to go over.
Hey, we're not even going to tell you. You know, what I love about that, you know, this integrity piece we can get into as well, because integrity is such a, you know, it's so easy to be out of integrity. And in corporations where, you know, I mean, there is a necessity for every company to look and focus on the bottom line. And, you know, Jim and Kathy, I mean, I've been with them for 16 years. And I see that, you know, obviously the being responsible to the bottom line, but truly understanding that this business is all about people. So I love what you said there. So I'm DelRae. Again, I love this because as a doctor of chiropractic, you know, we know, or I know, and both of you could contest it or attest to this, is that people in the medical profession are the most skeptical people typically I've ever met, especially around this profession and around Isagenix and these, you know, these products. So DelRae, I know you were very, very successful in that profession. So from your perspective, and for those medical professionals that are listening in, I want you to hear this coming through your mouth anyway. Why did you choose Isagenix? Go.
I love it. Well, Jessica definitely covered the products, the integrity of the products, and they produce emotional and tangible results. Also, the comp plan. I love that she covered that. Mine really aligned with the core values. I mentioned that before, but specifically, I'm from a really small family farming community. So family was always a top core value. So when I had a chance to actually shake hands with Jim and Kathy Coover and really hear their story, that really resonated with me. Coming out of retirement to start a vision-oriented company for families, that was huge for me to be able to really build with trust. And I think trust and respect are the two words that come to mind when I think about Isagenix. And I love our future vision statement for that reason specifically, because when we understand that people have been let down by this industry. We understand people have been let down by other companies, but we really wanted to be known as the company that got it right. And in order to do that, in order to build trust, you don't just watch behavior and choices for a couple of years. I love that we are tried and true over almost 20 years of experience in showing people we are doing the right thing, from the product to always innovating and evolving, to evolving our vision statement and our brand. And I think that really aligns with anybody that does have that entrepreneurial mind. And am I up?
I know you still got that.
I wanted to like get the A+.
Hey, listen, we're going to give you an A+ regardless. So it's just tie a bow on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen this family create an opportunity for mine to actually change the lineage of my own. I wasn't going to be able to specifically do that in the industry that I was in. When I learned that this was something that could be willed to my family to actually change that lineage, that is what moved me like nothing has ever moved me before. I wanted to give my girls a life experience that I was not able to have generationally because of a farming family. And I learned that, and I was all in. That was it. I made a decision. This was going to be my home. I trusted it. I continue to trust it through every up and down in business, which every business has. I trust the experience with the Cougars.
Awesome. Well, I think that you almost did it in the beginning. I think round two went a little. I think You know, and there's something going on with your mic there that we're not picking you up as well. So I don't know, DelRae, if you want to just double check that, make sure your Wi-Fi is on the right channel there just for us. And if at home, just bear with this. You know, we're in a situation, we've got people in different parts of the world. And so if it does go out and in, just bear with it. It'll be fine. It'll be great. Let's go in there. I noticed that you've got your vision board behind you there, Jessica. And, you know, last week we spent a lot of time with Emily talking about vision, but I love the fact that our leaders do have vision boards, and it's not just something goes, yeah, do this, do this. I wonder if you can give us a quick overview so that somebody who last week has maybe started the process can understand, oh, this looks like your family vision board. Is this your family one? Do you want to talk us through it real quick? That'd be awesome.
So I will tell you that I think there's so much power in not just vision, but, and I loved what Emily shared last week. She's truly an inspiration to me. What I found and what our families found is that there's humongous power in group visualization. And so we've taken our family and done that. And so when people doubt it, I say to them, you know, this year was the first year that I wanted to treat myself to a nice vehicle. Got out of it. People that know my story know I have a lot of children. We're foster parents. You never know how many we'll get. But this year I wanted to get an SUV that was just a really awesome SUV. I wanted to buy it used, and I wanted a small amount of miles on it. And my husband and I use a person who helps us negotiate cars. Tell him what you want, and he goes and finds it for you and does all the negotiation. And so I got on the phone with him and I said, I'm looking for a Cadillac Escalade, and I want to have less than 20,000 miles, and I want to pay this, and I want navy blue. And we were living in New Jersey. He lives in Pennsylvania, where we live most of the year, but we were living for the summer in New Jersey at the beach. And he was bemoaning, how crazy are you that this doesn't exist? It doesn't make sense in a Kelly Blue Book situation. And navy blue, there are almost nothing in inventory that's navy blue. Plus, you're in New Jersey. So I want to tell you, David, that we were driving as a family in my minivan, goldfish crumbs. It's disgusting, Honda Odyssey. And I said to the kids, and we're driving down in New Jersey, and I said, guys, this is no longer a Honda Odyssey. This is a Cadillac Escalade, navy blue. Look at the leather interior. Feel that. Doesn't that feel so good to have a clean, beautiful, to smell that car? It has so few miles on it. It still smells like a new car. That sound system is amazing. And my kids were all in this moment and vision with us. And I kid you not, within 24 hours, the gentleman called me and he said, this is insane. I literally just got a phone call that Holman Cadillac in New Jersey got a navy blue Escalade. Can you get there shortly? Because I think it's mispriced. And had 17,000 miles, and it's in my garage right now. And when people doubt the power of group visualization, and so that sparked in our family, big dreaming together, feeling the emotion of it. And so we came home and we made this family vision board together. Everybody, what do you want? You want to go to Fiji with Isagenix. Our adopted daughter, who just turned 4, wants this play set, this dream play set. What 4-year-old wouldn't want that? We want to do this to our steps. My daughter studied Greece in school. We want, redo our bathroom. And so we all had input, and we spend time really talking about how fun it's going to be to spend time in our outdoor area with the TV. Do you want to watch the Eagles game in the outdoor area? And what should we serve when we have our tailgates and our barbecues out there? I think there's so much power in it.
Wow. And thanks for bringing that to life, because again, it's what we did last week. Those of you, I just want to just recap that shortly. I love the fact that right behind your head was a vision board, so we could just sort of touch on that. And I love the idea that, that your daughter is 4 and her vision is also up there, and that she can articulate that so clearly, but she also learned the power of vision and that joint vision in that car. I love that. All right, close your eyes, feel the leather, and boom, off it goes. And now it does sound woo-woo if you don't practice this, but for all of us that do, we understand that it's so powerful. And a good way to think about it is, if you buy a new car and you probably haven't noticed them ever, but because you have it, suddenly you see hundreds of them all the time. You see the same car before, you've never seen it before. So, all right, let's get going. I want to talk about the 6 areas of belief. And DelRae, I want to talk to you just to start us off. When I look at the 6 areas, some people say 5 areas, but I love, the products. It always seems to be such an easy one, and I'm sure that you're going to talk about that. The company, you just touched on that, and I'm going to dig into that a little bit more with you, Jessica, because of your unique stance of dealing with the company as a vendor, right? Belief in the compensation plan, which a lot of people, before they earn money, don't really understand it. And they also, because their income can go up, flat and down and up, flat and down, and that's a very normal build. A lot of people can get disheartened and especially when it flattens out a little bit or drops a little bit. They don't understand the normal cycles of that. And belief in the industry of network marketing, of course. And Jessica, because you were a vendor outside, this is the one that most people seem to struggle in. And what I love about this, DelRae, is that so often people quit our profession because of this one thing, because of network marketing, and because some broke, unhappy person made them feel terrible about their choice to create a new life for themselves. And then the last two is belief in self. And I always say that belief in self is a moving target, is that, some days, or, and both of you, as mothers and as business people and, as family members, it can be, it's not like you're up all the time. So there are growing moments and better days and awesome days. So belief in self can be a moving target. And in the beginning, we find that a lot of people who step into the network marketing to Isagenix, they do struggle with self-belief and self-worth. And as they start growing this muscle, you start to see our leaders start to really look in the mirror and fall in love with their imperfections. So that belief in self is a moving target. And the last one I like to focus on is belief in self becoming a network marketer. So DelRae, I just want you to talk about that. First of all, let's think about that new person listening to us right now. They may have already been considering quitting. They may have already had 3 or 4 conversations, and they don't understand the direct correlation between their belief system, how they're showing up, and really how their belief is going to help move them forward. So do you want to talk a little bit about your understanding of the importance of really identifying where we are with our belief system?
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate because I really lacked a lot of self-confidence, self-esteem, and belief when I first started. And I was a very confident person, but had a few life experiences, both personally and professionally, where I really felt like a failure because I had my identity wrapped up in my work and different identities where I felt like once I achieved this a certain amount, I would be happy. And I'll believe in myself as long as things are going according to plan and the outcome that I desire is showing me that I'm on the right path. And so often, with the certainty of income as an employee, when a lot of people come in, they have been an employee for a really long time. So when you're kind of responsible for, even if it's just a side gig, but it is on you, it's tough to switch that mindset to believe in yourself, especially in the daily process of progress while divorcing the outcome or what you think it's supposed to look like. And the input to output, especially in this business model of network marketing, looks different than linear. You will usually sow a lot more than you reap, especially at the beginning of any entrepreneurial journey. And that's a really tough thing for people to understand when we live in a world that is very driven by instant gratification, or we want results now, or especially being promised them. And I think that's a challenge with the industry in general of network marketing, are sharing these big stories, these big wins, or a lot of the glory and high income earners, when we don't really share the story, which is why when I share my story, I just kind of say asterisk, this wasn't 3 years, it was 10 years of failing forward, of learning how to communicate with people, of really developing skills that then transferred to this industry. So at the beginning, the most important, I believe, way to build belief in yourself is small wins. Consistency, showing up, celebrating small wins along the way. And that's why our compensation plan is so beautiful. Like Jessica alluded to, is we have these upfront bonuses where people can build belief and earn while they're learning and while they're creating that residual income side. And I have seen people with a 10 out of 10 desire come into our business. But I've seen the majority of people, when I ask them, if you're a 10 out of 10 and you have that desire, what is your personal belief that you can actually make that vision a reality? Now we're sitting at a 2 to 5 as a typical answer, that they actually believe it's possible for them. And that is the ticket. We can believe it's possible because we see it, we see the success of others, it's inspiring, but until we actually believe it's possible for us, that's what changes how you show up daily. And most importantly, showing up as as the person that you want to become, as the leader that you want to become to actually create and attract the outcome that you desire is the ticket. Because if I would have operated out of the place that I was at 6 years ago instead of my future vision of where I am now, I would still be stuck in that place. And understanding too the income here, you know, David, you mentioned this at UIA, and belief in that, you know, it's hard because a lot of people have these big visions for income, yet they've only made a certain amount in their industry or in their job. And I realized that the biggest amount of growing pains that I had in the business was my own personal belief of what was possible for me. And it took a lot of work and self-work, which is actually why I think this business is quote unquote hard for some people, is it will reveal along the way every limiting belief and narrative that you have about yourself and what is possible.
I want to jump in on that because I think it's such a nuance. And I saw you, Jessica, nodding to that one. It's like, it's kind of like the amplification. If whatever's really going on when you start, this is going to help you see it without you knowing. You don't think it's helping you. It's almost like you feel like it's like new, but it's actually been lingering inside, but nothing you've done to that point has ever challenged it enough to be able to make it sort of come to the forefront, because most people are living life on autopilot and they're just doing enough to earn the money they're earning. You know, like you say, most people have an employee mindset. But I really love DelRae. You were a zero in one of the areas of belief. And as a medical profession, I'm pretty much sure I can guess which one it is. But talk about the zero. Where were you as zero, and how did you cross that bridge? Because obviously a zero, when you don't believe in something at a zero level, it's very, very hard to be authentic around people and talk about our profession or offer something where inside you're like, this thing sucks, right? So do you want to talk us through a little bit about your zero, and then a little bit on how you crossed that bridge for yourself?
It was in network marketing, specifically that pillar. I had a 10 out of 10 belief in the product when I put it in my body, and had the experience that I had. I was a stressed out, exhausted, leftover mom. So it was simple. That was a 10 out of 10. Within 3 days, I felt a difference. The company continue to build my belief in that. But network marketing, because of previous experiences that I had of how I was approached and consistently about only income. Like there was nothing attached to that was meaningful for me, or the future vision that I had specifically of contribution and service to others. That's what really moves me. And I had not seen network marketing done in a wholehearted, heart-centered leader way. And I realized in the moment of saying yes and making a decision, I thought about it before I say yes to anything. It is, I'm all in. So if I decide, there's no going back. It is, I will figure it out. But my decision was wrapped in either accept it or change it. Either accept that you're just going to continue to think that network marketing has to be done a certain way, or go to work to change it. Become the leader that you would follow. Become the leader that you feel other people need in this type of industry, where we build in the infinite game together. We co-create our leadership experience together. So I decided to become that leader. And instead of complaining about all the things that I don't like about the industry, how it's presented, the hype stories, or the lack of credibility and things in other companies, I said, I'm going to stay in my own lane. Isagenix is the vehicle. I trust it. Now I'm going to show people how beautiful this business model is by role modeling through action what servant leadership looks like. And when I chose to do that, that's what built my belief in network marketing, because, well, and ISO uploads help with that. I'm going to be honest. I was struggling. And so to actually see the comp plan work, not only for myself, but for others. And the specific part about the comp plan that I mentioned to you was that bridge in the gap where our raving fans as customers could get their products paid for, and do that so well here, because that is a bridge in the gap that not a lot of companies offer. So that was exciting to me, where I could help so many families earn a little extra. And then those that truly do want that, higher income and impact, I can also help them. So I was really passionate about showing through action what was possible, and that built my belief along the way. And I will tell you, when you have time to think, it will, your self-doubt and all those limiting stories have time to creep in. So action cures fear, and action was curing my doubts that I had about network marketing, and podcasts of people that had gone before me and emulated the type of character that I wanted to step into. I would listen to, David, I told you I listened to every single podcast of yours when I drove to a happy hour in Montana, and I didn't realize how big that state was. It was like literally a 24-hour trip. I had no idea. But I was like, awesome, I could get through all the podcasts. And I just, after story after story after story of leaders in our company specifically, I was rock solid.
You know, what I love about that, because I always talk about the how-to. So those of you listening right now, I mean, this is one of the how-tos, is DelRae saying is that listening to real stories and identifying with those stories and saying, and she's using a thing called net time. Net time, a lot of you say, oh, I don't have time. She's talking, well, I'm driving a car anyway. What's that? And turning a car into a university. So no extra time is net time. It means that you're doing something, whether you're hiking or whether you're working out or whether you're driving your car, right? That you're actually listening to something, and that continual listening and that listening to great stories and identifying with those stories allowed you to move that belief needle, DelRae. So thank you for that. I will tell you that I'm not going to dive into your story as deeply because you and I recorded a show. In fact, all three of us have recorded shows together. So if you want to listen to Jessica's story and get into the backstory about, you know, her medical profession, how she got there, growing up as a farm girl, you know, how she developed her spirit to be an athlete, her connection with her father, you know, how she how she came into this profession, how she succeeded at the very, very highest level, the challenges she went through. But if you want to listen to that, you can just go to my YouTube channel. It's My Extra Mile Conversations with David T.S. Wood. And there's a show with Jessica, there's a show with DelRae, and it really gets into some of those weeds as well. So we want to focus on a few things today, but if you want the whole story, and then you know why now, because as you listen and you're driving, you can say, oh my gosh, this is how DelRae built belief, by listening to great stories of great leaders. So thanks for that. Jessica, let's go over to you for a sec. What, you know, you had this unique thing, and we say that belief in network marketing is probably the hardest one to overcome for a lot of people. DelRae, as a medical professional, having spent a lot of time getting there and having this badge of, you know, of accomplishment, and then moving into a whole different profession. But you know, you had this very unique experience. Do you want to just share that a little bit? Because it's such a great way for people who are struggling with believing in our profession, and especially with Isagenix, to maybe understand that you saw it from a very unique vantage point that will allow them to see the same thing you saw. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the company that I worked for, and then that we sold to Citibank, paid commissions to people like all of us in the field. And so Isagenix was sending a file to have commissions paid, just like we have Isa Wallet today. That was the company that I worked for at the time, and then Citibank that did that for not just Isagenix, but so many other companies. And I was part of the DSA, which is the Direct Selling Association, a governing body of network marketing companies. So I knew many of the executives. I had sat on boards with them, attended events with them, knew a lot about the industry, including how compensation plans worked. We had to be able to understand that in order to be able to tell a company, yes, we can pay your people. And so I had a great amount of belief because I saw it firsthand. You can't look at these files and this income being earned by companies. I spent time at other people's conventions often. I would visit their conventions. I would be on stage announcing, hey, you're going to be paid in this new way through this prepaid reloadable card. And I would be part of the cultures and communities I would see behind the scenes of so many companies. So belief in, were people earning extraordinary incomes? Were they changing their lives? I had seen that. On the flip side of that, and I think where a lot of people that probably had my background, and clearly DelRae, it was the identity of myself in network marketing. You talk about there being kind of two sides of that coin. Do you believe that network marketing as a model makes sense? Do you see yourself as a network marketer? So I was a extraordinarily high number, a 10 out of 10 on one side of that coin, and really low, really, I'm a corporate. I went to Columbia University. I am not a network marketer, until I really did a lot of what you said, DelRae. I really looked at people and said, wait a second, maybe the normal, the acceptable identity, the identity that I want for myself and my family isn't these long work weeks, this travel, this commute, this time for money, maybe really, truly, these people have had it figured out, and I better retool my own identity to say, wait a second, that's for me.
Yeah. It's interesting that something you have in common, I was just thinking about, in fact, I was just making a note on something, that you both you came in and and I want to say this, and a caveat for some of you listening. Some of you listening are maybe even on the sort of more of the product user, sort of considering this as a business. So you really haven't stepped in with any kind of a vision of what you want. And many of you are part-time, is just having a little extra income. But for you, Jessica, you were like a high six-figure income earner who, when you made this decision, you made it knowing that you wanted to be a high multiple six-figure income earner and seven-figure income earner, and so that's quite unusual. You don't see that every day. But maybe Jessica, just talk a little bit about that, is that, for you to sort of have this career where you're really respected at the very height of your career in a corporate world, and that sort of decision that you made to say, hey, I'm going to go and rebuild in this profession. What was it about this profession that allowed you to see that you could let go of everything and again, you did that. You made a very, very strong decision. But what was that sort of decision and that clarity that you were going to be able to do exactly what you've done? And I want to sort of maybe touch on the fact that first year building, you spent more time with your family, I believe, in that first year, building this from home than you had in years, because you were on a train early, you were in the office, you came back late. So you were missing the very thing you were building for. And I think a lot of people are in that situation where they're really they're not leading the life. They're earning enough to try and save up for the life they want to lead. Yet you were kind of in the build, the messiness of the build. And I love the way you talk about mess. It's like, you're always like a little chaos because you got all these kids and right? And dogs and all the rest of it. But just talk a little bit about that journey, because I know it's a very bold move. And DelRae, I'll come to you afterwards and ask you about it as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people that have heard our story know I was in an incredible corporate situation. I had a huge upside ahead of us. We had a second company. It looked like it was going to be sold. I had an ownership stake in the company, and it was a social media technology company when every company was looking for that. And I will tell you, when you hear my belief, I had to get there, because I bet our entire family's future on Isagenix. If you ever need belief in this company, I have done the work, because I had to look at my husband and my kids and say, I'm going to gamble, and I like this bet so much that I'm going to burn the boats. I had to go fast. Our family didn't have a choice. We had built a life that required not just two incomes. God bless my husband, the greatest cheerleader in the whole world. He's a high school principal. And I've heard him once tell a friend of mine, the greatest gift that I ever gave him in our marriage was the ability to truly do what he loved. Because I will tell you, we bought a ton of real estate, and we thought we're building for this great future, and things don't always work out. So we needed two incomes, and not just two, but mine to be as significant as it had been. And so this was a gamble for our family, but I liked it this much. So I remember the day that I knew I was going to walk away from my corporate job. And I've told this story to you, I think, David, before, but I was running to catch a train, late for my train from Philadelphia to New York City. I'm running down the hall in my upstairs. My oldest daughter was about to walk out of her bedroom at the same time. And I happened to just stop and look at her. And I still to this day feel so emotional, because I can just see her. And she had put on these jeans out of her closet that were about 6 inches too short. And there I see this daughter of mine that was growing like a gazelle. And it hit me in the moment that anyone listening, if you have children, and you've ever looked at them like you're seeing them for the first time, you went to sleep, and who are you that I'm just seeing? I see you every day, but I'm looking at you for the first time. It was like that. And this tape all the way to 30th Street Station played in my head, and it said, Jessica, you're missing it. For what? You're missing it. You're going to get to the end of your life, and you're going to realize this all passed you by. We had the money. I just didn't have the time. I got onto the train, the Acela, headed for New York City. And I remember saying to my best friend, unbelievably the most successful corporate woman I've ever known. And I remember saying to her, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go walk away. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go pursue Isagenix full time. And I remember her response, and she said, you need to meet me for dinner tonight. There's no way that you can walk away from that company before it's sold to go sell shakes out of your trunk. And this is how I knew my belief was strong, because I said to her, girlfriend, I drive an SUV. I don't even have a trunk. I'm not going to go sell shakes out of anything. What I'm going to do is create a global distribution for products we're both obsessed with that have changed our lives. We're going to create a global distribution. I'm going to show other people how to live a life they deserve. And by the way, when I saw Avery walking out of her room, I'm going to recommend that you take a look at your 3 sons and we go and do this together. Because we have an opportunity here. We're going to go to the top of this company, get everyone you love, and let's go. And I remember having belief like that because I didn't have a choice. It was burn the boats. This or what?
Yeah, that's awesome. And DelRae, you know, I can't remember. I don't know why I can't remember. Normally I remember every story in our company, but I can't remember what your motive was. I know the time part, but as far as the financial, was it all in? Or were you like a little extra income here? I mean, you had a professional. Just tell us a little bit about that story so people can hear it. And then we're going to get into the how-tos of the belief system. And we got a lot to cover today, but I want to get into really the nuances of the how-tos.
Absolutely. Jess, thank you so much. I literally just pictured my older daughter when you said that, because she was really a large part of my why when I started. And missing moments, I had her when I was 21 and started graduate school when she was 3 months old. So I missed everything. And she was raised by daycare. And going into chiropractic, I saw her an hour a night. I mean, working early mornings, late nights, marketing on the weekends. So David, I had transitioned into the online health coaching space and created a couple of nutrition products actually with my own label on them. Epically failed forward in that business because I saw behind the curtain of Oz of that industry. I saw it lacked integrity. It really promoted diet culture, and it was not something that I wanted to be a part of. So I actually ended up in a big transition period, personally and professionally. Part of my big why is, as a mom who, you know, raised girls, and as a single mom, I always wanted women to have choice financially, because I stayed in unhealthy relationships because I couldn't afford to leave. And that was a big part of my why. So I started like Jess with my back against the wall. I started with 0 income. And I think that's also a place I had to be personally. I know not everybody is there, and you don't have to be in order to look at this incredible opportunity for your family. But for me, it was all in, because I didn't have another choice. I was providing financially, and it was a must for me to get off to a fast start, which is why I'm so passionate about those upfront bonuses. It literally saved my girls and I when I needed it the most.
Yeah, that's awesome. I apologize for that. Now, as you're saying it, of course I remember. It was just like lurking in there.
No worries. Yeah.
If I go through the sort of the 6 areas of belief, and I ask you both a question, because we understand the importance of building belief, and we can touch on that in the end as we tie a bow on this belief part. For me, it was critical. The reason I built the University in Action was I started to notice how many people really wanted it. They really wanted something new. They wanted something different. They wanted to be able to take control. They wanted to have, to create a recession-proof business. They wanted to be independent. All these different things. They loved it. They loved it all. But they just simply lacked the belief. And when they'd go out there, they were so incongruent that their friends would think, they're like, trying to introduce something that they didn't believe in. And because of the way the brain works, people are picking up. And that's why I think we get a little bit of this. Some people say our industry can now be a little icky sometimes. Well, if someone can sign up on a Tuesday and talk to you on the Tuesday night, and they have no belief, and they don't sound like they know what they're thinking about or talking about, so belief is important. But if I ask you the question, how do we build belief, like in the company? What's a suggestion? Like, I will do these quickly, but so I'll start with you, Jessica. If someone's sitting there, I don't really know how to believe in this company yet, what's a couple of things they can do as their homework to say, hey, if we believe this belief needle, it's going to really help accelerate our success. What is a way they can build belief in the company?
I think one of the things that I did and I would recommend to people is I went to isamovie.com and I went and I watched the videos, especially love the video Hidden Depth and the raw and real videos that the Cougars recorded and Eric and Peter recorded. And it gives you a peek behind the company of who are the Cougars? Who are they? You look and you really dig into that. If you're looking for belief in the company, I think some of those videos, again, isamovie.com, the movies that the videos that they recorded that are allowed me to reintroduce myself, incredibly powerful to know who you're aligned with. And they're the foundation of the company. They surrounded themselves with people that have their core beliefs. And I would tell you, that is one of the strongest ways that I get convicted. Talk to other people, seek out leaders and ask them, why do you believe so strongly? And I will tell you, in everything that DelRae was talking about, I just remember that Janie Elo told me stories. She told me about meeting Kelly Dickerhoof on an airplane. And guys, here's the facts. If it's possible for someone like Kelly Dickerhoof, if it's possible for DelRae, if it's possible for me, that means it's possible for anyone. And I believe that. And I started training belief, David. I started training my belief like I trained my muscle. When I first started lifting weights, my biceps weren't very good. But I would look at them and I think, you've never looked better. You're going to look even better today than you ever looked yesterday, and you're going to look better tomorrow. And so I would say to myself, I am an unbelievably intentional, successful network marketer, long before it was true. But I really trained my mind to believe. I am so convicted and excited about this industry. I am so excited about the income opportunity. I really believe that our field can start training themselves, even when an incongruency exists. I really start to think that you create an identity through what you repeat, think about, and speak out.
Oh, that's awesome. And I just noticed something. We'll try this. When DelRae's speaking, if you try muting, I wonder if that's going to help her microphone a little bit more. So we're going to try this for a second. DelRae, do you want to add anything to that, or should we go to a different? Is there anything you want to add to that one?
No, that was perfect. So okay. Good. I love those videos. Those are the ones I love too.
Awesome. What about the compensation plan, DelRae? I'll come to you. How does someone build belief in the compensation plan?
I mean, I so strongly believe in events for every core area of belief. And even though we can't necessarily meet in person now, the virtual events that Isagenix is offering right now during this time is so powerful. Getting to an event, I was super stubborn. I was in the back, my arms were crossed. I was basically like, prove to me what you're talking about. And I'm the type of person that needs to build trust in time. I just kind of watch people's behavior and just see how they present themselves. And when I went to my first event, what really built my belief were the IsaBody stories. And ironically, that actually helped me build belief in even the compensation plan, because suddenly I saw that our comp plan, the reason why it was so generous is because we have exceptional products. And that's why we have an exceptional business opportunity, is we have products that produce real results. And it was so mind-blowing to me. And then I heard, and I saw myself in other speakers and other presenters and other leaders in the company. When Lynn Hagedorn drew out the comp plan, I just saw part of myself in her. And I realized that if I didn't know the comp plan to the level that I could teach it to someone else, I would still be struggling with my belief in the comp plan. So that was my number one, was to actually draw it out, role play. I would even have note cards. I remember the first event that I did with another leader, we literally had index cards, and I was like, so the bonus for Crystal Manager is $250, right? Yeah, okay, yes. So we were doing it together, and that's the one key about belief that I think people don't understand. Confidence is everything. When you're confident and you're building belief along the way, that confidence is built through experience and action. So a lot of times we actually avoid the one thing that gives us more confidence every single day, which is just doing it. And doing it messy, just like Jessica's life and mine. There's every excuse that we'd have with families and all these other challenges, but we just did the do, and that built confidence. And once I started to understand that I could help people get paid, that was the part of the comp plan that made me most excited. Was not only was I going to go to this level of leadership, I wanted to bring people with me. And so I invested them in a future vision of all of us doing it together. And that was a really exciting way. I didn't feel like I was on my own. I invested people into a future vision, and we co-created it.
Awesome. Jessica, that didn't help, so don't worry about it. You can just leave it unmuted. Do you want to talk a little bit? Do you want to add to that? I know this is a big one for you because you understand it so well. How do you build belief in the compensation plan?
Yeah. So here's what I'll say. When people say like the belief areas, right, and they say, oh, compensation plan, I think a lot of people start getting this anxiety because they go, I don't think I understand it. To me, do you believe you can make money in it? Have you watched some knuckleheads like me make money in the compensation plan? You can do it. Let me
Hold on, wait. I love how you talk. Yeah. Knuckleheads like me. I was watching DelRae's response to that. we don't think you're a knucklehead, but
spend a day with me, you go, oh my gosh, if she can make money in network marketing, anyone can. So what I'll tell you is, I agree with DelRae 100%. I remember watching Lynn Hagedorn and Kathy Savage on a YouTube video over and over again and saying, I'm learning this. And now I just teach people. So when I started this business almost 7 years ago, I remember teaching the twins. I have 12-year-old boy-girl twins. And I remember explaining things to them and thinking, if you guys explain this back to me, let me understand it. And David, I told you the story where my girl twin, her teacher called me and said, Quinn just explained to me how to make 6 figures in Isagenix. I'm interested. And I said, that's awesome. Let me send you an enrollment form.
Now, this was in our show that we did. I talked about my extra mile show, but that's such an important thing. Your daughter, it's so simple. How old was she at the time? 10?
11.
11-year-old went to school and got her teacher so excited that the teacher called you to find out about Isagenix because a 10-year-old had such clarity because exactly what you're talking about, repetition, right?
Guys, our compensation plan, there's a lot of compensation plans that I would need a whiteboard and a few days to explain to you. And even then, you would be hard pressed to really understand. And frankly, I'd talk to you so much and explain it, I'd be confused by the end of it because comp plans in many companies are confusing. But in ours, I can tell you right now, 11-year-olds can understand it so much that they can actually enroll their teacher. So here's what if you happen to encounter my kids ever at an event or you know them in person, what they will say to you is, to go to the top rank in our mom's company, you need 10 people who know 2 people who eat. That is our top rank, you guys. Our volume holds with us forever, as long as you're active. We only build 2 teams. A lot of companies build 8, 10. 2 is better than 8 or 10. I promise you. It's also better to keep your volume than to lose it and have to requalify. And so this comp plan, you can take my word for it. But what I recommend is you do exactly what DelRae said. I watch Our Easy Training. Eden Slobin kills it on the comp plan. I watch them all still because how I explain it may not be heard by other people. But when Eden explains it, I feel like, wow, that makes so much sense.
How do people find that Eden explanation? Do you know what that is? Is that?
Zach and Eden do a comp plan training on Our Easy Training. I believe it's also on Vimeo. Our OUR Easy, like Eden Zach, training.com. Give them a really quick plug on their page because they've done an exceptional job of
great trainers. Awesome for that. Let's go back to you, DelRae. DelRae, let's talk about the products because obviously that's what got you excited. And if someone's just stepping through the door and they're trying this for 30 days, right? Maybe they haven't got a belief yet in the products or are super skeptical. What's a quick way for them to start really building belief in the products, DelRae?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my background of formulating and manufacturing products, like I saw what happened in our industry. So when I was going to do my own research, our podcasts were really powerful, our science podcasts and our isaproduct.com website, isagenixhealth.net for healthcare professionals. That was a big one for me to really look at our studies and deep dive into our studies. And the quality of ingredients with our no compromise policy was really huge for me because I had seen so many companies cut corners in our industry, like just the highest standard of manufacturing. I was really impressed with that and the raw materials. And I just always tell people putting it in your body is huge. And I did not want to be a part of a diet culture company. I did not want to be a part of a weight loss only company. I just knew that the evolution of holistic health and well-being was so much more than a diet plan. So when I saw that our company really provided a support tool for a healthy lifestyle, by simplifying the complexity of nutrition every single day, nourishing our body with ease. That's what really excited me. It's been 6 years. There's not a day I don't go without these products. I love them as much as the first day that I started, but every day looks different. Supporting a busy mom and healthcare professional's lifestyle, it looks different. I was an athlete too, so to actually be able to grab hold of a product line that had pre and post workout nutrition that was exceptional, that wasn't in healthcare. I didn't have a company that I could align with that had those kind of products. So the diversity of the line, the ability for people to really shift their food budget from really thinking about their lifestyle with food budget. I can't tell you how much I spend on snacking options. That was a huge deal to actually see that I could shift and reallocate my budget of what I was already spending money on to my own online nutrition and wellness store and teach other people to do the same. And suddenly your food budget is a money-making asset. That was a really powerful experience for me to see.
That sounds sexy. My food budget became an income producing asset. I love it. Jessica, you may want to touch on the whole product belief thing as well. And then I'm going to ask you to sort of look at how does someone build belief in the profession of network marketing, which seems to be the big one. But if you want to sort of touch on how you built belief in product as well, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to note that you look at someone like Dr. DelRae Messer and you say, oh my gosh, I could never be like her. And I tell people, listen, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't have a science background, but I can read. To do this business, you need to be able to read, and that's it. I have trust and confidence when someone like DelRae affirms these product, validates them. Dr. Joshua Plant, who I don't need to have a medical degree or a nutrition background to know they work. You don't need to know that. And so honestly, I think one of the things that I have nutritionists on my team, I look at DelRae and I know one of the things people think when they get in here is I've got to become knowledgeable. I've got to learn everything. In this profession, if there's one thing I've seen, it's not what you can do, it's what you can duplicate. When you become the wisest and smartest person in the room, you become unduplicatable. And that is a block in this industry. If you want to stay small, become the genius. I frankly want to use the tools. You don't need to know. People on my team that have backgrounds like DelRae spend a lot of time showing how to duplicate. We use a system called ATM. I think we talked about that on your podcast, but we use a duplication system. It basically, guys, using the tools, even if you're brilliant, even if you know the answer, showing someone how to get the answer will accelerate your growth. And so your question about the products is I can look around. I say to people, listen, I don't need a nutrition degree. Anecdotally, I've looked around at a team of over 30,000 people who've transformed an exceptionally indisputable, not on trial success rate. 98.6% success rate of these products. They transform people. I saw them in myself. I saw it in people I care about most. Indisputable, not on trial. My product belief is like nothing anyone has ever seen.
And I always say, I'm 16 years. I mean, if you come in my pantry right now, you're going to see it looks like an Isagenix warehouse because I believe and I climbed Kilimanjaro, 19,374 feet. I carried all my products to the top, to the roof of Africa, and I take them all over the world. And here's an interesting thing. I don't know if I've told either one of you this. Recently in Greece, I just spent a month in Greece, and I didn't have any bags arrive. I arrived with zero. So it's the first time in 16 years I went without Isagenix products for 30 days straight. And I felt so crap, I'll be honest, and I'm really healthy I'm 60 years of age. I'm healthy as I've ever been in my entire life. I rip my shirt off and feel really strong and confident. But I felt like crap after 30 days. And I came back early. I was going to stay another month. I thought, I need to go get my product. I know how crazy that will sound to someone, but only if you put these products in your body for 16 years do you understand if you take them away for 30 days, how bad that can feel. So I think everyone should, don't try that. All right, Jessica, come back. Just building belief in the industry. What's something they can do? What's a how-to? Because this is a big one. What's something they can do today that will allow them to build that belief?
One of the things, when I was about 24 years old, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And then I read The Cash Flow Quadrant. That is very eye-opening when you consider what he's sharing about trading time for money, having an income-producing asset, and looking at what DelRae is talking about, that all you have to do is reallocate a food budget, look and feel sexier than you've ever felt in your life, more vital and vibrant than you've ever felt, and you really consider that. So those are two books that I personally really believe validate the industry. Both of them are by Robert Kiyosaki, but again, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I wanted to have a laundromat, a parking lot. I just had this big vision. And at the time, my husband and I was 24 years old, we started buying investment real estate. And we thought we were geniuses until we weren't. Having multiple streams of income is what smart people, smart families do. I knew that for sure at 24, but I had never seen a vehicle quite like network marketing. And I just encourage people, educate and arm yourself with information. Second piece of that, our team has this, myself in particular, we have this keen focus on dispelling many of the fairly earned myths of this industry. I tell people, the stigmas that you might believe right now, we deserve. In a lot of ways, posting and praying, buy this now, ask me how. What DelRae said, these not heart-led, the opposite of heart-led leaders, just throwing money at people. It's not about the product or the people or the transformation. It's just about the dollars. People that don't understand compensation plans, that lure their friends who need to earn money, come do this with me, we can make a lot of money, and they don't know even the first thing about how to find out how to do it. So we've not done ourselves a disservice. We've done ourselves a disservice. We've had bad actors who have created these stigmas that we can own now. But what can we do is my goal, my mission is to create people who other people look and go, they're in network marketing? Wow. Business owner, chiropractor, had a holistic health line. She's in network marketing. And so what that means is we're going to go out and attract the most up-leveled human beings, and we're going to show them how to crush, smash these stigmas. And we're going to keep doing it so much so that they cease to exist, because Isagenix has proven those people, they're not who you think they are. The network marketers that you're envisioning, the post and pray, eating bonbons, bored housewife, that whole nonsense, pyramid scheme, believe me, look at the caliber of the people who are involved and how they do it. And then network marketing, we're all 10s out of 10 because you're in the best, you're among the brightest, and you're doing it right.
Wow. Drop the mic over there. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to come to you, DelRae, for the last two, and and I want you to touch on the profession as well. But, for me, and this is, having trained over 1 million people around the world, and I say this, look into my eyes. I could work in any profession with what I do, any profession in the world. I don't have to be here. I love it. I choose this profession. I choose Isagenix because the happiest, the kindest, the most generous, the people who contribute the most, the wealthiest, the funnest, the most authentic, transparent people I know are professional network marketers. Now, I know in the beginning that it doesn't look like that. When people start out, if they're incongruent, it can seem a little cheesy. We get that, but we grow into this profession to become great at it. It's about removing the masks. It's about accepting our imperfection. It's about falling in love with people and really falling in love with people, not just, the best part of people, the whole part of people, and we get paid to help people grow. So it's this wonderful thing. And when you're around leaders like you two, we could sit anywhere in the world. The conversations are always going to be stimulating and fun. And they're about passion and dreams and about people. And it's not about gossip and about what's wrong with the world. It's about what's right with the world. So for me, this profession is so sexy. So DelRae, do you want to talk a little bit about, again, just touch on if you want to. If not, the last two are so important. Belief in self and belief in self becoming a professional network marketer. I wonder if you can sort of touch on those, but if you want to add to the profession, please do.
I did what Jessica did. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad was really important, especially coming from a family farming, household. Like we didn't know about passive income, residual income. We only knew hard work from sunrise to sunset. So it took definitely a mindset shift for me to see and connect the dots that this vehicle was the way to create, not only a residual income stream, but then taking that and paying off my first investment property. That was really exciting for me to be able to do something like that and actually experience it. And building belief in the industry is actually also, I believe, just with time, you start to see, David said, kind of normalizing that in any business model, you can go like this, right? And so even in the plateau times or a little downturn or then a plateau again, I've asked myself different questions. It's like, well, if not this, then what? Like, what would I still be doing for this kind of income and freedom of choice, specifically in my time and flexibility? For example, in this spring, being able to homeschool my daughter and not have to think twice about how that was going to look because of this vehicle. That is what's continually built my belief in network marketing, is also life experience and just going through these challenging times. Belief in self, it's one of those, when people ask me, like, how do I start believing in myself more? I'm like, well, what area are you working on? I've read every book and podcast probably under the sun in belief in self, But there's so many limiting narratives that we, again, deal with. It could be anything from a childhood narrative. It could be a narrative around our money mindset, a narrative around leadership. There are so many things, and it's why I love this industry so much for personal growth. Because if you do have a growth mindset and you desire to grow as a person, you will continue to build your belief by overcoming those narratives with each new experience that you have. And I have found that my blocks and the areas that I need to build belief in will just continue to show themselves as a direct mirror reflection of my mindset and where it's at. So at the beginning, of course, I would get challenges around, is this a pyramid scheme? Is this, what is it? And then suddenly overcoming that belief, being so confident and certain, I don't get those questions anymore. It's like the very thing that I need to overcome to build belief will continue to show itself. Other people's opinions hold a lot of people back from pursuing a life that they truly desire. And I feel like this industry, our family, our Isagenix family, lifted me during those times we're facing other medical professionals coming from a really small town. I mean, we were not only told not to do this, we were warned of this kind of thing. So my parents are like, "Oh, what are you doing with your $200,000 degree?" There's so much doubt that surrounded me. And that's why events were so important for me. Full immersion is what built my belief, because suddenly I was around people that thought differently. And I wasn't surrounding myself with people whose mindsets, now not judging again, because everybody has a different life experiences that gives them the belief systems they have. But I wanted to immerse myself into people that thought that way. And if they had not only the core values and the character traits that I wanted to emulate, they also had the impact and they had the lifestyle that I desired. That's who I wanted to take advice from, not my high school classmate or somebody else, right? So I think that also helped in building belief is really working on the areas that I needed to change my narrative every time that they would come up. And then my belief as a network marketer, I think that was something that I still struggled with even the past couple of years. Like, is this my actual identity? And I think anytime we wrap our identity up in our work, it can be dangerous, or really anything else. So I've realized that as a leader, I am just as coachable now as the first day I started. And my identity as a human having this experience, a leader in this industry, is a mom. There's so many different identities. I don't necessarily wrap it up as I am a, and then ... because I've lost myself by attaching myself to different identities before. So now I feel like this industry has magnified the best character traits of who I am. Wow. It gave me a vehicle and a platform to give more, serve more, help others. I love cultivating team leadership. I love cultivating community. I would have never had that opportunity in what I was doing before because I didn't have the time. I didn't have the ability to do so, trading time for money. I didn't have the leverage. So that's what I feel is so powerful about bringing who you are to this industry and allowing this industry to magnify the most beautiful character traits of who you are.
Wow. Jessica, I mean, I know there's probably something you want to add to that, but I mean, because I think the personal journey is so important. So I just want to come to you just to wrap a bow on this, and we're going to move on to our next piece.
Well, first of all, kudos to DelRae for not accepting those limitations that other people put on her. Thank goodness. And it brings me to, I think, well, let's close it out this way. I watch so many people, David, come into our company that have unbelievable, jaw-dropping potential. If you put DelRae and I together and you went 10x, it would be this person. But usually their lack of belief in these areas takes them out of the game. And it pains me. It pains me to see them because I see the potential. I already see them evolved in the ways that DelRae is talking about. I see them on stage, earning trips, a freedom income, dreaming bigger with their family. I see that for them, but they step out about the 2-yard line. And it pains me. But I will challenge people in there. If you are that person watching this, and I'm talking to you, if you're that person with that insane, massive potential, the ability to go and create so much impact that the ripple effect will never be seen in your lifetime. If you're that person, what I would challenge you is, what is the worst that might happen? Let's say that we're wrong. Let's say we're wrong about this model, this industry, Isagenix specifically. Let's say we're wrong. Me and DelRae, what have we done? We've put products in our body that made us look and feel amazing, better than ever, right? That's the worst thing that happened.
Better than ever, hot.
I mean, your words, but what I'll say is that we've surrounded ourselves in this sideways, negative, poison, cancer-causing world. We've surrounded ourselves with a community of people who actually clap for us. DelRae is one of my greatest friends in this company. She's not just a co-trainer with me. I actually speak to her. She just recommended a book to me. I'm doing a team call. She's doing mine. She's my friend. So the worst that can happen, I want to challenge you, is the worst that can make you make a friend like DelRae Messer, who will leave you better than she found you, products that will let you look and feel better than you've ever felt and looked. So if we're wrong, that's the downside. But what if we're right? What if you not stepping out at the 2-yard line changes your life? Talked about the generational blessing. And people talk about social injustice, they talk about generational curses. Well, guess what? We're in the generational blessing business. May my adopted daughter, who may have faced other social injustices, who's Black in a transracial family, may she see generational blessings because of this business. And may we bring other people who see that, who see the vision I see for how we can impact not just families, communities, people's impressions and perceptions of the world. We can do that. So that's if we're right. But even if we're wrong, friends, even if we're wrong about your potential, the ability of the company, Isagenix specifically, you still put these products in your body and you win.
Wow. I tell you, we could end it right here. I know that, but there's so much more to do. I just want to give someone just to maybe do a little exercise. So, take a piece of paper out, and you can do this at the end. You can rewind this and go back to this point and just write down those 6 areas of belief. We talk about the products, the company, the compensation plan, the industry of network marketing, belief in self, and belief in self becoming a network marketer. And just sort of identify where you're at right now. Where are you at in your belief? And I always say unshakable belief is what you can see in these two. It's not that it doesn't get shaken. They still get challenged. There's still moments where they, right? DelRae, she's nodding like crazy right now, right? But it's unshakable means that when someone talks to you, you don't feel like crawling up into a ball and quitting because you're embarrassed about where you're at, that you're a network marketer or whatever that is. And if you write down like a 2, like DelRae was a 0, and then the only question is, once you can identify where you're at, unshakable is a 10, where someone could say something that's not going to derail you. It may not feel great, but it's not derailing you. But at least if you could say I'm a 4 out of 10, you know that, hey, this is an area that I could really work on. Because then I take responsibility for moving my belief needle, and they've given you so many great strategies. So that would be an exercise to do. And that way, because I found that when I built the University in Action, when I brought the awareness to people, even people who have been around for a while, they're like, oh my gosh, I really am struggling in this one area. I didn't realize, but I can see it in my business because I'm struggling here. And so they start doing the work and they start seeing the change in the business. With that being said though, Jessica, I know what people are thinking. You mentioned something and everyone's going to say, what is it? You said that DelRae just shared a book with you and everyone's thinking, what book? So do you mind just sharing what that is before we move on?
I'll give you 2 books, actually. So one that she told me about, that's Abby Wambach's Wolf Pack. She sent me a link. She said, download this on your Audible. I think you're going to really like it. Wolf Pack. Very good book. I'm about halfway through listening to it, and really fascinating. Vulnerability, authenticity, community building, going after your dreams. And then the book I think we were also talking about was the book, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, Lynn Grabhorn. It's another book that I'm re-listening to. I think DelRae's re-listening to it. And it's just about that vision. It underscores what Emily talked about last week with visualization, belief in yourself, and dreaming.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, let's go on to finding people. We're talking about the 3 things here today. The belief systems. I knew we'd spend a long time there. It just is such an important piece of the overall equation. And then finding people. Do you want to I'll start with you, DelRae. Talk about that. How do you find people? What can we, remember, a lot of new people are here. They've spoken to their mom, they've spoken to their brother, Bob, and now they're thinking, what do I do now? I'm going to, I can't build this. But how do you find people?
I mean, again, I think that's all mindset. It's like a growth mindset sees opportunity everywhere. The brain is just trained to see opportunity. And what I see are a lot of people that are struggling. That's all I think about is how many people could I help today, especially with what's going on in our world. I mean, there are so many ways to connect with people, especially right now. I think we understand how powerful it is to be able to be online, but people still crave connection. It's a phone call. It is even a Zoom meeting to be able to see someone's face. I mean, there are people everywhere, and that's how my brain thinks. It's just so abundant that I'm never limiting myself to, oh my gosh, I just don't know if I know enough people. And I also spent a lot of time building a network previously. And I think that's something to really understand is it took me, years to build a network of really high quality A+ people to be able to really build a team. I utilized my own story and my experience, a lot of vulnerable feelings around the pain points about where I was at, not only physically, but emotionally and financially, really touching on the pain points of the people that I really wanted on my team. So I would look for character traits and qualities in someone. I looked for desire and a specific mindset. So it wasn't necessarily a certain profession or, I had to go here and that's where everybody that was going to be successful at network marketing was. It was actually becoming really good at listening to what people were struggling with. And I always, my best piece of advice for people that start is really fish in the pond where you have the most common ground with people. Meaning a lot of people start and they think like fishing from the whole ocean. It can be super overwhelming to do that, but where you find common ground the fastest with someone, which is why I do have so many healthcare professionals on the team, it's not because that was specifically the demographic I was looking at, it's because I was one. So I knew what it felt like to have no time for my girls. I knew what it felt like to have a really high amount of student loan debt. I felt limited in so many areas of my life. And so it was comfortable to have that conversation when I had common ground with their own pain points. There's no wonder I have a lot of moms that want more freedom of choice in their time because I was one that had none. And so that people are everywhere. But specifically, I have been really, I've been really consistent in my sharing of my experience on social media. It's not the only place. I built my business, especially at the beginning and even now, because the world feels a lot like my world did 6 years ago, through phone calls, through the network of people that knew, like, and trusted me, and constantly going to work to share my story or the story of someone else that would relate to them. And I think the biggest component to my build always has been a collective future vision, like a vision statement, and investing people in a movement versus pitching a product or a business. It was literally, I believe in a place where you do not have to choose between your work and family life. I believe every woman deserves financial freedom of choice, so she never has to stay in a relationship she can't leave. Like, those are the things that just
I just got goosebumps. I don't know if you got those, Jessica, but do you want to repeat those? Because that's such there are so many nuances to what you said. And just to remind everyone, on week 5, we are going to dive into how to build on social media. So, we're not talking about the how to of finding, we're talking about how do you find people. The philosophies here are so great. But I love the fact you started with the medical side of who you are. You have a lot of common ground with medical professionals. Yeah. And I could hear the mind of people going, oh, I'm not a medical, it's so easy for her. You know how the mind works is, and then you follow up with, yeah, I'm also a mom. And so I have a lot of moms on my team because I have so much common ground with mothers. And so what I love is that you gave that range of connection, which I think is so beautiful. But go back to those 2 visions, or what you say, the vision of not having to choose. Just use those 2 examples or any other ones you use so someone can grasp, oh my God, that's how I find people. I find people I have common ground with, and I share a vision for them because I was there. I understand how they are because I am them. I am a mom. I've been in relationships where I struggled and these different things, but share those 2 visions again. They were so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in a world where we never have to choose between our work life and our personal life, that they can be integrated. And I don't believe there's a better business model for it than network marketing. And I believe that every woman who desires to have financial independence can build here with freedom of choice, so she never has to be in a relationship she can't leave because of that reason. And those are two people that I attract a lot, because it's literally why I get up in the morning. It's a vision that's bigger than myself, and it's how I work with new people that really want the business. We get to work in conversations, but the two things I work with them the most on is their story, their own experience, and their future vision statement. So launching and helping them launch a movement. So for example, working with a couple of nurses, they just created a community called Burnout Breakthrough for Nurses. And then another, teacher, she's my teacher friend, and she built an incredible community for teachers. So helping them understand that co-creating this process together through community building and a movement and a vision, it transcends then product or business opportunity. That is going to happen because that's how you fuel this future vision. But suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, now I can be in my own lane. These are my people. This is what I'm passionate about. This is why I got into nursing. This is why I got into teaching. Like, now they go to work with so much joy and passion for the movement they want to create, versus feeling like, I don't want to do this reach out because, or I can't enroll chiropractors because I'm not one. Well, where is your lane? Where is your common ground? Who are the people that share your pain points? And let's go connect there, because it's so authentic. It's who you are. And that's such an easier way, I think, for people to comprehend how they can build this than just sometimes traditional ways of, shooting out text messages, which work well. I believe I've seen the people that stay here and last and do it with passion when it's about something bigger than themselves.
I honestly, and I'm not, I think that was one of the most beautiful descriptions of finding people I've ever heard. And all the years I've been around, I just really think, and again, I think someone could listen to that over and over again to sort of catch the nuances of that. But, finding your lane where you're most congruent and most transparent and most authentic, and to be able to build in that lane. When you think most people go to work and they put masks on just to be able to talk to their boss or talk to other coworkers, it's not about authenticity. It's just about surviving each day and getting paid and being able to provide. We're talking about, hey, finding a lane where you can remove the mask, be yourself, find common ground, and create a vision and a movement that inspires you to wake up and help more people. I mean, it's like, hello, drop the mic. Oh, goosebumps all over. Jessica, I know that's a hard one to follow, but I know that you have your own experience. But what's your thoughts around finding people?
Do you really want me to talk after that?
Well, I don't know, but I thought I gotta let you try. I don't know.
Let me tell you in like Philly East Coast language that people are everywhere. That is one resource we will never run out of. I'm in this business 7 years, and I have more people to talk to than I have time to talk to them. So I promise you, when you open your eyes and make your lens about seeing people, they're everywhere. And so I do think that what DelRae is saying is so perfect. I mean, I have a lot of foster parents in our business because I'm looking for foster parents. That's what I am. It's what I know. It's what I'm really passionate about. I have twins. I have a lot of twin parents in my business. I'm looking for people like that. Like you said, David, you get a car and then you see hundreds of your same car on the road everywhere. I'm looking for those kinds of people. I'm looking for qualities and personality profiles. So in some network marketing, they get themselves in trouble. In other companies, they're looking for a heartbeat and a pulse. Anybody can join my team. I'll take anybody. If you have a beating heart, you're in. Frankly, I've taken the energy state that I am looking for very specific people with a profile. Anyone can be blessed by our products. Let's be honest. Anyone can benefit from these products. But I'm looking to build a team of people who have a very specific profile set. They're positive. They're influential. They cheer for other people. They're coachable. They're networked. They're interested in making change in their own life and in the world in general. Those are the people I'm looking for. And what you look for, you'll find. When I told my kids I wanted a navy blue Escalade, guess what? They're out on the road, all over the place. Didn't see one before. Apparently they're low in the inventory, but they're everywhere. When you start talking about them and looking for them, it's the same thing. When you write down, Eric Coover gave me this advice. I've trained on it probably every time I've ever trained for Isagenix. I've reminded people of Eric Coover's life-changing advice to me, that every morning when I'm really building this business, and I'll tell you, you can see a bazillion, this is how I say I'm a hot mess. Every one of these papers says some variation of, today I allow myself to, here's one, today I allow myself to attract people who are driven, special, outgoing, influential, passionate, kind, and coachable. I write that down today, and I want you to do it too, because honestly, you find who you're looking for.
Well, actually, why don't you do that as an exercise? So everyone's got a pen out right now. Just read that to them and say, what you're saying is before you start your day, you are setting a clear intention like you did with the car. You knew you wanted leather seats, you knew it to be blue, you knew wanted low kilometers, you knew all these feelings you had. You're saying, hey, rather than just sort of like, and I love this, in fact, you said anyone with a heartbeat, but I think a lot of people is a heartbeat and a credit card, right? That's how terrible it becomes. But why don't you just lead them through that one more time so they can capture some of those words? And DelRae, I know I saw you cheering over there as she was saying that. I didn't have you on camera as you did it. So if you want to cheer again, you can. But and then maybe DelRae. So who are you looking for? So, and we're talking about the distinction between, because you were very clear, anyone can use the product. So yeah, anyone. But you're talking about building a business and you're creating business partners. And a lot of people make that mistake. They think their product users are their business builders. Now, can it happen? Of course. But there's a lot of product users who will share with one or two people, but never really cross the bridge to become a business builder. You're saying that you're intentional in finding business partners, and so is DelRae, and you'll share the products with anyone, but you're not building a business with anyone. Is that right?
I wish I could show this to you because, and I was, DelRae and I were talking about this the other day on the phone. I was telling her that on Sunday nights at 9 p.m., I've been doing something that we're calling the Epic Experiment with some of my top leaders on our team. And what we do is we do group visualization, and we each have goals. And the first thing that we do when we get together is we write down today, and I want you guys, if you have a pen, like David's saying, write this down. Today, I allow myself to attract people who are. Maybe it's three different.
Wait. Got to give him a second. Today, I allow myself to attract people who are. I'm going to say it 3 times for him. Today, I allow people, and it's going to be written right here. You can see it. Today, I allow people to attract people who are.
Yeah. Okay. Today, I allow myself to attract people who are, and I want you to write down the qualities. See the kind of qualities. If you say the word influential. I love influential. I literally imagine someone who is the person I call to say, where should I go out to dinner to have the most amazing meal? They're influential. Or I call them and say, let's have a girls' weekend. And already they're texting people saying, you're coming and bringing sangria. You'll be there at 8 p.m. You're driving, because they have the influence that we all listen. If they tell me what to do, I do it because they're influential. And I imagine that kind of person flooding into my business. So you're going to write down those 3 qualities, let's say. Then if you're with us on Sunday night for our Epic Experiment, you write down the next thing, I am, and those 3 qualities. So I write down, let's say that I say, today I allow myself to attract people who are influential, driven, and coachable. Next, I write down, I am influential, I am driven, I am coachable. You will attract who you are. And so if I'm talking to you about attracting people, the first thing I need you in an energy state. I need you to believe it. We also write down amazing people are flooding into our business with ease in great numbers. We write these things down on the Epic Experiment. And then I'll be honest with you, what we also do, because DelRae, I know you said, and a lot of people have said to me, gosh, I want to be part of something like this. I want to start my own, is I have the goals for every person that's on that call. I have this dream bench. There's 2 pages I have on my desk of here's what they are. And so as an example, I have someone named Ann White. Ann White's a top leader in action in the company. And I say, Ann, I am so excited. I just saw you in the airport, in the Fiji airport. Jim was dragging your huge suitcase. I saw that Kathy Coover just ran over and gave you a huge hug. She can't believe you've qualified for Top Achievers. And by the way, Jim whispered in my ear that when he held your 1099 in his hands for the first time, he looked down at the number and he almost dropped it. He could not believe the income that you've created and the fact that you've been able to pay Isabel's college tuition for cash. And so we do that in everyone. And so I speak it, and we're all at the same time. Everyone on this Zoom call is visualizing for that person. I'm seeing the stretch limo that we've organized to pick you up for an unbelievable event because you've qualified, because you've built your business and accelerated by 10x. And so that's what we do. But I will tell you, doing that same exercise and imagining, I say to DelRae, I was watching Isagenix business Facebook page, and it's all, my whole feed is you identifying and recognizing all these amazing leaders that have flooded into your business. And then I see them creating executives, and I cannot believe the unbelievable people that are just magnetizing to you. Congratulations. And I celebrate that in other people, and I see it. And I just want to tell you, if I can give you one thing about finding people, combine these two things. See it and feel the emotion right now. Feel it so acutely and deeply that it's if it's happening, and then go do the action. Take the action steps that DelRae is describing to align with people in your lane and go find them. Do not be deterred if they say no. That's you getting worked the hardest because you've declared it. I tell people, if you've done this exercise right, if you get off this call on a Sunday night and maybe 10 minutes later, maybe Monday morning, you start to have every doubt rise up. Everywhere where you have weakness, your underbelly, if you feel that you're being poked there, you can't do this, you don't deserve it, you'll never get there, they had more experience, she was a doctor, this is never for you. If you feel that, you're doing it right. You're doing it right, because it is absolutely where the devil will work you the hardest.
The devil will work you the hardest. Wow. Oh my God. I keep saying that this could be a whole day training. This particular thing, because I was just going to ask you at the end, about getting into that kind of state. For me, I have a trigger. I've done it not my whole life, but since I started to really want something in life, when I go in the shower is where I decide my posture for the day. What you're talking about, whether it's influential or whether it's, whether it's contribution, it doesn't matter. But I could start to feel it, and I start to walk and behave. And it's so funny. A woman came up to me in the gym yesterday, and she is a mother of 4 children. She wasn't hitting on me whatsoever. I know every single person in the gym. It's a gym where a lot of professional athletes go. I'm the only person that hugs everyone. It's like there's a young kid there, 17, a rugby player. He's massive. And him and I have become friends. His name's Simon. And I talk to him every single day because he works out. We cross over by half an hour. And I work out with a trainer. But I walked up and said, you know what I haven't done with you? He says, what? I said, get over it. Give me a hug. And here I am hugging this great big giant of a kid. He's like, oh. Like this. Well, this woman walks up to me and she says, can I have a coffee with you? I said, yeah. And I said, what's your name? She said, Lorraine. I said, yeah, for sure. What's up? She said, no. She said, I just watch you come in this gym every single day, she says, and I realize I just want to talk to you. I just want to be able to sit down and have a conversation. And that's what you're talking about, is being able to be the person that naturally attracts people to you, because you are, and what I love is I am, and you're the qualities that you're looking for, and that's going to force you to step into that world. So it's so exciting. I think this is, both of you have just given me so much. It was like, here I am, my arm's getting sore from making notes. DelRae, what do you want to say about that? Because what you said, Jessica couldn't add to, and what she just said, I'm watching you and you're like just beaming here. So what's going on for you?
I love it so much. I love vision casting like that, especially for others who haven't necessarily had the experience dreaming bigger for their life. It's just such a powerful tool. And when you do it together as a team, it's just amazing. We do very similar things. We did it this morning on our morning team Zoom, just talking about who we were attracting during this time. And we really focus on, as a growth culture, the process of progress of who they're becoming in order to attract that ideal business partner. I love, one of the first events that I went to, Susan Sly said, she writes on her mirror, would you enroll with you today? And I loved that because it gave me this constant reminder that this is a business of evolution, just like anything else does. I think there's a lot of people that get hung up on people coming in and going, or thinking somebody said they want to stay here and then suddenly they're gone. If you are a leader that understands your evolution of who you become in this, will continue to, it will show different people, literally different people will continue to come into your business as you continue to grow and up level who you're becoming, which is why I love our new 2.0 company, and then most importantly, who are we as leaders in our 2.0 versions of ourselves. And that's why getting through tough seasons is possible, not only alone, but as a team and collectively, and even as a company, because when we see a future vision of what's going to happen 5 years from now, it allows us to understand that challenges are a part of the process, and challenges will magnify who you are. You are either focused on the problem or the solution. And then when you do that kind of vision casting, it allows people to say, oh yeah, that's a part of the experience. Failure is a part. Let's fail together faster. Let's do it together. What do you have that's a creative idea? We literally co-create that process because we're so focused on the future vision instead of a problem or instead of this distraction. And that's why vision casting is so important, and really maintaining your focus on that versus kind of the day-to-day of what can take you out of the game.
Wow. All right, Jessica, I know you love acronyms, and I want to, before we get to the last piece today is really about how to inviting people into Isagenix. But I just want you have this great acronym, and I love it because, it's kind of like, it's intentional in its illness. Why don't you just, first of all, describe the philosophy of and then lead us through that. And again, make sure you got your pens ready here because this is something, again, I want you to follow along with. So Jessica, over to you.
First of all, David, I love you. I've never done it with quite that theatrics, and I like it better like that. But it is an acronym that's intentionally ironic. Ooh, I don't want to reach out to people. I don't love that. What if they say no? And so that's the acronym is intentionally designed to be ironic. And so I wrote it down just so you guys can see it, but absolutely take notes. But there's a lot of things that about this industry. We talk about the bad actors because people take you on your word when you give them a script. And then they send a script where they say, hey, friend, I am started this new, and people look at you and go, wait, what's my friend? You're my friend. That's not my friend writing. That's odd and weird. And I haven't talked to you since second grade, and you're writing this script that's really awkward. And I want to defriend you and block you and associate bad things about the industry you're in. And so we've taught a formula because I want you to make this sound like you. I want to give you the structure. And this was designed, you'll see one of the things that I really also believe that you find in bad actors, who has ever gotten a message from someone cold and it says, David, I have to tell you about this new company I'm in. My crow's feet are gone. My skin is like a 12-year-old's. I've never looked more fabulous, radiant, or dewy. I've made all these friends in my new company. I'm making tons of money. Maybe you'd be interested in doing it too.
Did you say, whoa, did you say dewy?
I did.
Dewy.
I did.
Okay.
Because in all fairness, the message is about, do you care about their dewy, radiant skin, lack of crow's feet, friends, money? No. What does a person care about? I don't care about what is in it for me. I don't care about your crow's feet. But that's unfortunately the upside down message that people are doing. They're talking about themselves and all the fabulous things that have occurred for them. And at the end, a postscript, how about maybe you would like to do this with me? And so that's what's bad about the industry. And I'm going to show you this acronym, OO, that is the opposite of that. And it starts, if you can see this, the first E stands for edify. I want you to authentically edify the person. And so what that means is I would say, DelRae, you are one of the most driven, entrepreneurial, bright-spirited, and articulate women I've ever known. Tell someone something about themselves that they believe to be true. If I'm talking to someone who is a known wallflower, they're known to be out of the spotlight and love it there. And I write to them and I say, you're extremely outgoing, the life of the party. There's incongruency there. And if someone knows it. But if I'm saying to DelRae, you're entrepreneurial, beautifully spirited, articulate, people have told her these things before. We both know them to be true. And so she embraces that. She feels that in my authenticity in describing her. So that's the first thing. Then I tell people what I have. Get to the right point. What I say is, DelRae, you're incredibly authentic, driven, and influential. I have a hold of an opportunity to have a virtual franchise in the health and wellness industry, partnered with a company that has cutting-edge science nutrition, products that results I have never seen and no one seems to have seen before. So I tell them, if you hear me, I'm doing a top-down approach. Again, that's another thing that we've heard in this company. I'm sharing the business opportunity, and an attachment, I'm including how game-changing the products are. Why am I doing that? A real quick postscript for you. The reason I always lead with business with a postscript to products is that someone may say to you, not interested in the business opportunity, tell me about the results people have never seen before, though. I'm interested in that. Then I tell them why they should care. This W could also stand if it aligns more with who you are and it resonates more. Sometimes I say what's in it for them. Why they should care or what's in it for them. That's this W. DelRae, I know how passionate you are about raising strong, confident women who've seen the world. I know how important it is that you've been all over the world and seen for yourself what exists. And I know how important it is for showing that to your girls. I believe there's an opportunity here to travel like that for cash without incurring debt. If you called me and said, hey, Jessica, I believe there's a company we can make $1 million, I probably would delete your message pretty quickly. If instead you called and said, Jessica, I believe there's an opportunity for us to provide an iPad for every child in foster care in Montgomery County, the county which I live, my phone would probably break with the speed I would call you back, because that's what matters to me, right? And you know the person well enough that you're going to reach out to them. They're getting married. What do people tend to be getting married care about? They care about paying for their honeymoon without incurring debt, being able to go where they've always dreamed of going instead of going to their C on their list. And so I would encourage you is tell them why they should care. And then this is the one we miss all the time. And I'm like listening to your message. And I'm like, you sound amazing. I love this. But then they go, hang up. Wait, you forgot to say what they should do. What do you want them to do? And so that's the third W. Edify. Tell them what you have, why they should care or what's in it for them, and then what they should do. Let me give you an example. DelRae, you're one of the most influential, driven women I know, one of my greatest friends. I have a hold of an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to have a virtual franchise in the health and wellness industry, partnered with this company that has cutting edge science, nutrition, results I've never seen before. I know how passionate you are about traveling and showing your daughters the world. I believe there's an opportunity to do tons more of that without incurring any additional debt, just to have cash to be able to show them. And not only while you're there, show them, but give and serve and contribute in these other places in the world. Here's what I want you to do. Will you chat with me for 5 minutes? And I want to talk to you about what we're up to and my vision and see if it's for you. And that's the message. It's a formula. I'm from Philadelphia. I have an East Coast accent. I talk a certain way really fast. You don't talk like that, and your friends know that. But you can follow this formula. Edify what, why they should care, and what they want, what you want them to do.
Jessica, just because, and I'll come back to you, DelRae, because I love practice and the idea that the reason this falls out of you, someone else is still trying to write every word, thinking that what you're saying is what they need to say. But if they look at the formula of the edification is when you start to really, and it's almost like you can practice it on a moment by moment basis as you walk past people and start to notice. I do this all the time. I notice what I like. I notice what stands out. And I always pay compliments to people, regardless of Isagenix. It's just something I do. I walk up to people and tell them what I'm thinking, because I'm always thinking and I'm always searching for what's great about people. So it's always on top of my mind to say, oh my God, can I tell you something? You know what I was just thinking about? I was just thinking how beautiful you are. Like there's another girl I just started talking to in the gym, and she's, I'm trying to find her husband work. But how we chatted. I walked up to her and I said, can I tell you something? She said, and she was like, she had her earbuds in, she pulled them out. I said, can I tell you something? She said, what? I said, you're such an inspiration to watch. I watch you every morning. You're so inspirational to watch. And I said, I just wanted to tell you. And I wandered off. And then, of course, she starts coming up and we start talking. But it was genuinely what I was thinking. And I genuinely wanted to tell her. So I was just going to say, from a practice point of view, if this sounds a bit weird, it's because we're not in the habit of thinking and sharing beautiful things with people. That is easy to practice. What do you both think about that?
Look for people to compliment. Look on your time. If you're in your house right now and maybe you're in an area that's locked down and Europe is in that situation right now. But if you're somewhere where, hey, social media is my main connection with people, use your social media as a research tool to find out who you can bless. If it's a compliment, if it's adding value, if they've asked a question that you can answer, look for ways to add value and add brightness to other people. And that is a muscle that you really, truly can develop.
Awesome. DelRae, anything?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually super exciting. I love this topic because my little one, she's 7, and just the other day I complimented on this woman's outfit, where she goes, "You think everyone's beautiful. you think everything is beautiful about people." And it was just this comment where I was like, yeah, I do. I find something in everyone. I'm very expressive about it. And she's heard that. So she's constantly seeing me do this, regardless of if it's about Isagenix or not. It just becomes practice, and it literally becomes natural. And it's such a beautiful experience because people are just not used to that. They're not used to being complimented. They're not used to being edified. They don't even get it in most of their jobs, where they're literally working so hard and they're merely tolerated in so many areas of their life rather than celebrated or recognized for their efforts. I always lead with edification. Every single reach out, every single conversation, there is something about someone that I see, which is why specifically I want them on my team. And especially in a time where a lot of people feel paralyzed about what to say or how to reach out, or I don't want to sound this way, especially in a challenging time. It's the number one way to just go out there. I challenge you right now, 5 people. If something has inspired you that they've done or something they've said, go and tell them that right now. It strikes off the best conversations because they're already open. And obviously doing it authentically, it just becomes a part of your DNA when it becomes habit. So just get used to doing it, and it feels so good.
Reminds me of a funny story. I've told this story on stage where I'm, in a hotel room walking out. This was a while ago, but it happens quite frequently. Complimenting a woman's body as a man without it being weird or right? But this woman, I just noticed her legs, and I couldn't see it. I'm walking behind her into an elevator, and finally we got the elevator. I said, "Could I share something with you?" And the woman's kind of a little bit shocked at first. I said, "By the way, I'm dating, and I'm not trying to hit on you." I said, "But I just noticed, I'm walking down the corridor, thought, oh my God, you have incredible legs, and I just thought you should know." And I watched her go, she just almost like she grew an inch, but I put the little precursor in there in the compliment because I didn't want her to think that I was just being one of those, "Oh yeah, you got great legs" type of thing. Talk about invite. DelRae, I want to come back to you. We haven't got very long left. We'll be tying this up in a bow soon. But I do want to look at, inviting people. In your philosophy, what are some of the do's and don'ts from you and what you're teaching in your team?
I love accepting that this is not a fit for everyone. And I love giving them the space to discover if it is or not. So my go-to is exactly what Jessica does. It's edification. It is seeing something in them and how they can be a part of this co-creation of the future vision and the movement that I'm trying to create. And so it is the edify, the what, the why. And then most importantly, at the end, I give the space of just saying, listen, this may or may not be a fit for you, but would you be at least open to a 5-minute conversation? I know that you're going to find value in it. And, I love introducing them to other members on the team or somebody that they have common ground with or can relate to in some way. Storytelling has been absolutely, I believe, the most important skill that I've learned that has affected not only my life professionally with Isagenix, but also personally, because everything that's meaningful is emotional. And when you can really connect people that can see parts of their story, especially the challenging part, the challenges, and they can feel that from someone else that has had success in Isagenix, it accelerates the trust factor. And trust is everything. That's what our businesses are built on. So I give them the space to just say, listen, it might not be a fit for you, and that's okay. It may be for someone but I know you're going to find value in this conversation. Do you have 5 minutes, to chat? I always go to work to provide resources for people or tools for people, whether Isagenix is a fit or not. So whether it is a podcast, somebody in my network that I could feel, could help them. That's why I'm eager to get on calls. I'm very curious about where people are at in their life. I'm curious about what got them passionate about what they do. I'm curious about their future vision. I want to know what they're struggling with so that I can share my story, say Isagenix is the vehicle I chose. It may or may not be a fit for you, but no matter what, I'm going to find a way to help you right now.
Awesome. And Jessica, just sort of to wrap this one up in a bow, I mean, it's so beautiful. I love the fact that DelRae really, when she's talking about the 5-minute phone call, that's really what to do next. I mean, that's really what your last line is as well. But do you want to sort of add a bow on this one as far as, inviting people, any other thoughts or comments or things that people can do and practice that's going to allow them to just become more natural? Because I think the thing that I love about your approach is that it's all about authenticity. And this is, like you said, your East Coast kind of style, how you speak, your pace, your cadence, that's you. But I could give that same system to the Dalai Lama, and he can deliver it in exactly his way, in a very soft and very, thoughtful and whatever. So it just works. It's not about, follow this. It's about, hey, here's a system that I could practice that becomes natural over time. But do you want to sort of add another thought or anything else you want to add to, inviting people?
Yeah. So isn't it interesting that you hear DelRae deliver this, you hear me, and I can do this from memory. What you never heard is when I used to sound like a goofball, when I stuttered over it, when I really was developing, how do people react to these messages? What works? And so I urge you, I implore you to practice. Every person, my kids see me at the grocery store and I say to the 17-year-old cashier, just this teenage guy, probably goes to my husband's high school, and I just say, you're so exceptional at this. I mean, honestly, at your age, you could not care, but you've looked me in the eye and said, hello, thank you so much for the job that you're doing. Someday you'd be amazing in my business. You'd be absolutely amazing at what I do with these products and nutrition. I have a nutrition business, and that's a virtual online business, and you'd be amazing at it someday. Guys, every time I have a conversation, I'm practicing. I could talk to a 90-year-old and I'd say something about them that is why I believe that they're an amazing and exceptional human being. Practice with us. Because if the worst thing that happens, if we talk about worst case scenarios and all this, is we leave people better than we found them. And one thing, and I've talked about this, I probably talked about it on our Extra Mile podcast, David, but one of the things that I also would urge you to do is, if this feels scary, if you think like, I don't think I'm ready to do that. If you're on Facebook, I think one of the easiest things, one of the things I think it's best to do yourself and to train your team to do is birthday messages. Birthday messages every day. Facebook serves up to you whose birthday it is. And I pick up my phone. I use the voice memo feature if it's Facebook, Instagram, text message. And I say, David, I saw it was your birthday. I just wanted to wish you the most exceptional day. You're one of the most fun, really incredible people that I know. And I hope that this is the year that becomes the banner year. I hope it's the greatest year you've ever had in your life. By the way, love that time we had dinner with your sons. It was so much fun. You've been a blast and an inspiration to me. Thank you so much. And I say happy birthday to every person that Facebook tells me. It's just something I do. It takes what? Does it take 20 seconds a message? What happens for you guys is that you can't not get in an unbelievably next level energy state. Because you're smiling as you're thinking of that time with David and his sons. You're thinking of what an exceptional human being your friend is. And you're wishing them something, the best year they've ever had. Try not smiling. I challenge you to not be in a better energy state. But here's what happens and why it's such a great thing to teach your team. Because people generally respond to you and they go, that was awesome. Thank you so much for remembering. I love that memory you brought up. That was the coolest thing that ever happened. So what does that do to us as human beings practicing things? It conditions us that, hey, sending messages to people like that, it's actually a really good thing. It blesses people. They really like it. No one ever writes back to a birthday message and said, you're a horrible, lousy, no good person. I can't stand that message. I'll never do that pyramid scheme. All you're doing is saying happy birthday and conditioning yourself that you literally just getting good feedback from reaching out and blessing people. That's all we're doing, guys, is this is a blessing business. Who can I bless? An energy state that leaves people better than you found them. And I just want to close up by saying, DelRae, I loved when you know what is magnetic to me and probably a lot of other people you'd want in your business? When people share their vision and their passion. When I heard you say, this is a model that women don't have to choose. You know how magnetizing that is? I remember when I went and built, about a year and a half ago, I met a woman who was a foster parent in Iowa. And I said, Summer Meyer, we're going to go change bodies and bank accounts across Iowa and then across this whole world. Let's go do that together. Let's go tell people that we're going to change bodies and bank accounts. We're on a mission to change bodies and bank accounts. And the more you say it, the more you're sold. The more you believe it, it becomes part of your DNA. But the more that I hear people talk about their vision, And so I just want to close up what I'm saying, David, by just telling people, the more you speak that into being, the more you say to your partner, I'm going to go to the top of this company. I'm going to take a lot of people with me. You say to your sister, your best friend, get everyone you love. We're going to go create massive impact. We're going to go change bodies and bank accounts. And I want you to get in the habit and exercise of saying that to more people. Because when your mind hears you saying it, it starts to become part of your belief system. And I'm so grateful for it. And David, I think we both of us probably learned it from you, from University in Action, from your podcast, and just watching you live your life out loud. So thank you so much.
Thank you. DelRae, one last thing, just because we didn't touch on it, the idea of referrals, just before we close this out, how do you use referrals? And just because I remember that I wanted to ask you that, and this whole inviting thing, and how to find people. What is that? How do you use it? I know when I listen to Lynn Hagedorn, but one of the things when I think about her, what goes through my head is, who do you know? Who do you know? That she's constantly using that. And I just wanted for both of you, just so that we can give people maybe the idea that if the people in front of them are, connected to a whole group of other people, and that could be a beautiful resource. Do you want to just touch on that before we have your final statements there, DelRae?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that closing line of asking, it may or may not be a fit for you, but it may be for someone would you be open? I love adding that, because if it's not, then immediately that seed is planted to say, well, if it's not for them, it could be for someone they know. And then if we go through the whole process and it's not for them, I'm again reiterating my vision statement, who do you know that needs more freedom of choice? Like, I will take good care of them. You know me, you can trust me. And I show up for my network that way, just very consistently and credible. So that way they know that anybody they know will be taken care of. That's how I've gotten a lot of referrals from other healthcare professionals. If they know, I've gotten several of just single moms that were in a really tough place. They're like, will you please talk to my friend? You've been so inspirational to other moms. And so I also think it's also showing up consistently so that people do know what you're about, who you are, that you're in this and all in, because I don't think people want to refer to somebody that's kind of wishy-washy or dips in for a while and dips out. So I think referrals have everything to do with, are you somebody that is giving people the most excellent experience and you're in it? I see so many people kind of flip from a lot of different companies because grass looks greener on the other side. And everybody I talk to after 6 years, they're like, oh yeah, she's still in it. And if it's not for them, the two choices I believe that people have when they meet somebody that is so purpose driven and is about connecting through stories and a future vision is they will either say, I'm joining you, or I am cheering you on, and anybody I come across that could fit this description would be a perfect fit. And that's how I want people to feel when I leave their presence.
Awesome. And Jessica, anything about referrals that you want to add to that before we get to the last? I want you to do one last thing. And the last thing is about that brand new person listing. So just Jessica on referrals.
Oh, guys, this is what you have to understand. We're human beings and we're pack animals. We hang out with people who are just like us. So I find people that are the kind of people I'm looking for. And I say, David, this may or may not be for you, just what DelRae said. And I say, but who do you know? That's just because you hang out with people with vision, with these huge, big vision, big dreams. Don't hang out with people that are on the couch with a can of beer thinking the world's going to end. We don't hang out like that. We hang out with people just like us. And so that Iowa team that I was mentioning earlier, do you want to know how I met Summer Meyer? Because I knew her husband through a Facebook foster page. I had met them years before, and I just looked at their family and thought, that is who I'm looking for. People that are, I watch their social media, positive, uplifting memes about big dreams and just loving other people. I watched the kind of social influence that they had. They posted a picture of a brown banana and like 300 people wanted to engage with it. And I thought, that's who I'm looking for. But I really only knew him. And so I said, RJ, would you mind chatting with me for 5 minutes? And I said, listen, I don't know if you know what we do. We have a virtual franchise in the health and wellness industry. We're partnered with a network marketing company called Isagenix. I'm looking for people who are influential, driven, have a high money blueprint. If they're a tired mom, that's a bonus. And if they want to leave the world better than they found it, they're exactly who I'm looking for. And he said, you just described my wife, Summer. She'll never do network marketing. I said, awesome. Would she talk to me about adopting a toddler? You guys did it. I'm about to do it. So we jumped on the phone. Human connection. We just had that connection. And I heard in her voice, what would be in it for this woman? Why would she care? And honestly, and it's a whole story. I've trained on it before, Summer Meyer, but Summer Meyer is one of the fastest growing. She's a top leader in action. In 1 year, that woman who was never going to do network marketing. A lot of us guys, me in the beginning, I would have just hung up and be like, oh, that's a shame. His wife could have been great, but she'd never do network marketing. Okay. No, everyone says that, but they wouldn't do network marketing the way the world, the stigmas that the industry's earned, but they would do what you do. They would do what DelRae does. And Summer Meyer did what we're doing, and she's going to the top of this company. She's already, she's literally won trips to Grand Cayman, to Whistler, earned top achievers last year, will earn Fiji this year. All because I asked him, who do you know that is blah, blah, blah?
How glad am I asked that question before. I was just about to close this thing out, and I go, oh my gosh, I never asked about referrals, and now I can't wait to talk to her. Last thoughts. I want you to imagine that there's someone sitting, listening to you, just one person listening right now. I want you to look at the camera and have a chat with them. And that person, potentially, there's 3 types of people out there, and maybe think about those 3. That brand new person who's terrified to start, that person who's started, who's thinking that maybe this isn't for them because they've had a few rejections, and that leader that may be stuck or plateaued, someone who's been doing it for a while, but they've just kind of like plateaued, or they've gone into a dip, and there's a lot going on, and they're kind of like, they're losing their way a little bit. So those are the 3. I'll say them again. The brand new person who's maybe afraid to start. They're here, they're listening to you right now, but they're just afraid to take that first step. One who's taken a few steps and maybe thinking about exiting because they've had some rejections. And that third one is someone who's been doing it, had some success, and maybe is in a plateau or a dip. So I'm going to go to you, DelRae, first. And just if you can just talk to those 3 and as a final statement before we wrap this up.
Oh my goodness, this is exciting. Oh, because I had somebody just speak belief into me, when I was in that, all 3 of these areas I've been in, actually, when I first started. I think we have to choose our hard sometimes in life. And I think sometimes the fear and the overwhelm and the self-doubt, like those can really overtake our why so easily. And if your why is emotional, it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours, and it has to move you emotionally. We have to be willing to choose a hard. So again, it's either accept it or change it. Either accept that this is it. This is going to be the way life is. And for me, I just wanted to live a life with no regret. Most importantly, to show my daughters you can be anywhere in life. And I just wanted to role model who I was becoming more than the outcome. They don't know anything that I've done in Isagenix, but they do know who I've become as a mom. And I think that has been the greatest gift to our family. So to that new person, just take a leap of faith and understand that choosing your heart, I'd rather choose the pain of growth than choose the pain of regret. For the person that has taken a few steps and maybe has had some rejection, or you're through your warm market and now you're like really building skills in network marketing, lean into other leaders and just stay engaged in our community. Borrow belief from other stories, and most importantly, stay consistent and get rid of the outcome that you desire and focus on the daily process of progress. And then for the leader that's plateaued, I think we all know that when we stop growing as a leader, our teams do too. And so continually growing as a person is what has kept me in it, and living for something bigger than myself. Because Jess and I talked about this, being in this industry and you're in a top leader, sometimes you take a lot for granted. There's things that top leaders have complained about where I'm like, yeah, but look at how other people have it, most importantly, or perspective. And I always ask myself that question. It's like, if not this, then what? Where would I be? What kind of business model would I be in? What moments would I be missing with my girls? And I'm constantly focused on solutions no matter what. So it's that growth mindset, solutions oriented, the stick-to-itness that it takes to see anything through to success is no different here than anywhere else. It's just sometimes we get into this business model and it's so easy to compare ourselves to other people's journey and think that we're not on the right track, or we're not, we don't have the outcome that we desire yet. So be patient and persistent at the same time.
Thank you. Jessica, those 3 people, off you go.
And let me talk to you all three of them collectively, if you don't mind, because this is what I want to instill in people. And take it again, there are not many things that you would ask my advice and input on. This is one of them. There has never been a better, more aligned time for this company. The world is looking for the solutions that we have. And I want to just tell you, there are a lot of industries that will retract, but you have an opportunity to have growth like no one has ever seen. People proactively investing in their health. People that have said, I'm done with the inflammation, the exhaustion, the overwhelm, the overloaded cortisol and adrenals that came from COVID. I want something better for myself. Here, where we're in virtual school, every mom I know that's a working mom is looking for, how do I create income while my kids are here, while I'm home? How do I build a defense? Because I'm not certain of the future as we face this unknown as we look ahead. And we sit at the center of so many trends. And I will look around at this world and I see a lot of people posting their holiday decor. Why are they doing that? Because they want to rush through the end of this year. They want to mail it in. They just want to see what happens. Sit down. And I remember Michael Klaus, when I was on the field advisory board, said something to me that struck me so profoundly, and to this day. He was talking about when one thing stands up, the other things sit down. And he was talking about, in this case, it was corporate. When corporate stands up, the field sits down. We let corporate handle it. When the field stands up, corporate can sit down a little bit. And what I want to tell you guys is that there's a lot of people right now who are going to choose to sit down. If I'm giving you any advice, it's the time to stand up. Right now is the time to say, 2020, if it's to be better, it's up to me. And I'm going to go and work harder right now than I've ever worked in this company in 7 years. And believe me, we don't have to. We have an extraordinary income. No one will be sorry for the income that my family has created in 7 years. But I am going to double down. And why? Because I believe this world needs it more than they've ever needed it. I believe that there are families out there who will look into a future that does not include certainty of income. I believe there's people with health challenges that really can be blessed by these products, moms and friends and people who deserve it. And I'm going to just tell you, all three of those buckets of people, this is the time. It's never been more aligned. This company has never felt, to me, more aligned and anointed than it does right now. And I just want to say to all three of those people, come with us to the next level. While other people choose to sit down, go to sleep, put up holiday decorations so they can rush through a season, let's be the change that the world is looking for.
DelRae, Jessica, I love you, I respect you, and I thank you so much for everything you shared today. And I thank everyone for being a part of it. So we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
What can I say? I got goosebumps so many times, as I'm sure you did. So much good stuff there. Please go back, review it, and do the work. There are so many beautiful templates that can practice. I love that this week's all about that authenticity piece, the transparency piece, the higher vision. You see how week one rolls into week two, how you hear the word why and the vision and the story keep coming up. I'm so excited. Next week, we've got the incredible Trudy Maples, and we've got the incredible Julie Jurevic. And, this is about really onboarding people. So, from where we are today to bringing people on, how to present to them, how to get them started, and how to get people paid, get yourself paid and get them paid. And Julie is an expert on leadership in action, and we're going to be delving into that as well. So we'll see you next week. Thank you. And we'll definitely see you on the other side.